Hello, and welcome to another episode of my Realpolitiks Let's Play. I hope you folks are well, taking care of each other, being kind to yourselves, and things are going well for you. Doing another episode of this because, well, I got to produce lots of content to get my channel larger, grow in numbers, subscribers, views, and such. The algorithm will pick up on it because I'm disabled with long COVID, can't work normal jobs. Heck, I can't even do a very good job of YouTube, as I'm sure some of you will be critical of the quality of my videos. I do my best, but it's hard to have the mental focus or agility to really do as well as I could. And so I try and put out a variety of different video series. Well, there's some I put way more time in videos into, like my Alpha Centauri series or my Rebel Inc. one. Check that out. Some of you might may like that. I just got to do a variety of stuff, whatever I feel I can do on a given day. And maybe if I'm lucky, I managed to survive despite my long COVID, despite the government screwing me out of SSDI. Because the government bureaucracy doesn't really exist to help people. I'm pretty sure Social Security is, the ruling class probably don't think of it really as security for ordinary people, but as security for them against a socialist or populist revolution. The ruling elites have no interest in your or my or anyone's except the billionaires' well-being. And yeah, I got screwed because of an exemption out of the mid-90s for university jobs where you're more than a half-time student, not paying the payroll tax, and thus not being eligible for Social Security, disability insurance. What does Egypt have warmonger for? Must have done espionage stuff. Thus not being eligible for any work credits when I was working for university as a teaching assistant, which as a graduate teaching assistant, we're not talking undergrad shit, is a big deal, makes a huge contribution to helping universities actually run their classes, especially a really large class where I was a TA, and there's no way the professor could have handled it without a TA. Or ushering for events later, which there were people who weren't students who were doing that, and they were getting payroll tax contributions, exact same job. With regards to TAing, a lot of that work is grading tests, and although there's also office hours and such, and I later worked at a test screening company after finishing grad school and got payroll tax contributions to that, doing basically, I mean, standardized tests, but basically the same type of work just for a private company. So it's absolute bullshit to say that somehow I didn't deserve to get Social Security work credits or have my payroll tax contribution, which is secretly paying you less if you're not paying payroll tax because employers have to do a matching contribution. And you know, the bigger issue is they make it hard to get work credits, so people just be a little bit shy and get screwed entirely out of any SSDI help like I have. I'm 1 or 2 work credits shy. The government's saying 2, but it really should be 1, I'm pretty sure. There's an issue with the job. I started in 1 year, got the first paycheck next year. It doesn't matter. It could be that I'm 2 work credits shy for that, but I would have a lot more than the missing 2 if I just got credit for the teaching assistant job I did. You know, I was getting a rather large stipend, over $1,000 a month for it. I was doing really hard work, massive number of hours. This class had 2 teaching assistants in the past when there was actually less grading work. The teacher massively increased the scale and complexity of the test questions with a lot of essay questions I had to grade, which had never been done before. And in the past, there have been 2 teaching assistants with half-time points. It was just me with a quarter-time point, and I was expected to do basically more than 4 times the work for half the pay. It was brutal, oppressive. They really exploited me, and they had serious breakdown in relations between teaching assistants and the university based on the way they were mistreating teaching assistants at the time. There's been a serious breakdown between the members of the freedom movement. More radical members are calling for preparation for an open fight for independence. Independence? My entire nation is one province. Depends from what. Still, part of the organization remains loyal to the government and would like to continue our peaceful cooperation. We'd select let them fight each other. It was 100 score. Hurt my population growth and create unhappiness, or support the whales. It's just a little money in AP. So I'll do that. Yeah, not ignoring the freedom fighting can give you negative events like that, but having good relations with them can be very helpful. Unhappiness is at 5% here. Not terribly high. The internal conflict within the freedom movement is over. The supporters of our peaceful coexistence managed to come out victorious, thanks to our help. Got plenty of volunteers for the regular army thanks to this. Gained 25 score. Lower the unhappiness goal by 8% for a while, and my max unit capacity is increased by 10% for 30 months. Which basically increases it with the rounding from 18 to 20 units. Getting to be enough. It's going to be enough, maybe, especially if my militarism goes up in the next election, to consider launching an invasion somewhere, but unemployment is still growing because of bad economic situation event. I wonder if Macedonia started with that. Economy is growing. It's grown 20% since the start of the game, so in 6 years. That's like a 3% annual growth rate. Not great. But a little more than 3%. Whatever. Problem is I'm surrounded by blocks. Albania and Kosovo are in the block of Turkey. We're very much caught blocking me from attacking anyone. Bulgaria is a bit too powerful to take on. Though they actually don't have a terribly large army. But the population of 691. Romania is in the block of Russia, as is Moldova. Okay. So, one thing that's ridiculous in this game is they have this ethno-religious, culture Macedonian, civilization Orthodox. But Greece, which also is an Eastern Orthodox country, culture Greek, civilization Western. What of crap. If they're going to have a separate Orthodox civilization, Greece should be Orthodox because it is Greek Orthodox. But the devs are just pushing a fascist worldview with Western civilization. It's not even well hidden. Whatever. Play this game and criticize and call this stuff out. Maybe by criticizing it, some of you become more aware of this kind of nonsense in other parts of your lives, where you'll see these like neo-fascist pieces of shit who are like, oh, Western civilization versus Muslim civilization. By the way, Islamic civilization, that's what they call it. Yeah. One of the reasons, by the way, I said that the game encourages you to do outright fascist shit, and you can play as Israel, and they are considered Western civilization. Civilizations have diplomatic bonuses with others of the same civilization group. So you can play them and have that's in many ways the best spot to be in because it gives you better relations like the US, UK, the big powers that might come after you and pose a huge problem, especially in the United States, for a long time to the game. Although if you're Orthodox, you have better relations with Russia, and it can help when trying to annex some of their provinces later. Although there's these events where Islamic culture spreads and you have provinces in Russia turn Islamic, and this happens over and over. If you're playing as Russia, it's a huge problem. Since it's expensive to force culture conversion back. And again, more ethno-nationalist, fascist shit. You can't ever make that culture an accepted culture as Russia. And to agree that nations ever get the chance to go and accept minority cultures. It just happens to be the US gets such an event because this game was very America's the best in the world nonsense. Even as I checked, it was released 2017, the first game, in the DLC in like 2019, 2020. So, very much in the Trump era. It was very obvious the US was sliding fascist. The freedom movement has begun a huge political campaign to propagate an independence movement among the minorities here. If we don't react, independent stance may soon become a problem. Well, my relations are zero, so let's make our own campaign. Not such a problem. It adds to militarism target, but it raises unhappiness. We're ignoring we score in militarism. My militarism target, I think, is 5. So it's not knowing you can't even minimize this to see what it currently is at. The score hardly matters when I'm so well ranked in score. But it costs almost nothing to make my own campaign, just 2 action points. So I'll do that. In case other things or my militarism target, since I want to be increasing that. Alright, 9 intervention, 5 personal control, and 2 militarism currently. One thing I can do 952 is I'm on the left of. They can actually do influence operations in Kosovo. Also, they'll eventually, you can see their target, they'll eventually shift to democracy on their own. And if they do that, I'll still win the fresh breath of democracy task. But I can speed that up with the influence operation. Doesn't say when their next elections are. Knowingly. I'm putting it off because it costs money, and that's just going to add to my debt. But I could do this, for instance. It's 20 money, not much. 20 action points. If I succeed, I'll gain 50 score. And it causes them to shift towards my value of militarism, personal control, and intervention by 2, which in this case will move them left on all of these things, make them a democracy. Let's just do it. The rewards of this task are far greater than the costs. Bloc of Japan destroyed because Bhutan left their bloc, and that was the only nation it. Who joined the bloc of Brazil. Yep. Bulgaria isn't maintaining a large standing army, so I could do a surprise attack on them if I raise a large enough one and maybe, air quote, liberate Varna. If I were to annex it, it would add to my warmonger rating, or maybe I will, but would because I just can't do that many things. Annex Varna and then annex Sofia. They are the same culture group, but they are Bulgarian culture. less penalty than if they were a different culture group, and also not my culture, obviously. All right. Fossil fuel energy for GDP growth. The fossil fuel focus and more. This is mainly useful for bringing down unemployment to do GDP growth. And counteract where I'll keep running deficits and have periodic bankruptcies, but it's better to do that than to set higher taxes with the way this game's stupid model works right now. World, I'm not doing it right now. Yeah, unemployment's coming down, but it'll come down faster. Faster GDP growth, and eventually I'm gonna want to end the fight unemployment thing because it gets quite expensive. Ad hoc actions eventually do. Right now it's 4 money and 2 action points. Scales with your population. There's a certain amount tied to my GDP. It's huge. Yeah, so there's a variety of things I could do. Tourist infrastructure if I really want. Basically bankrupt myself, but more than that. Or mining infrastructure. It's a more modest investment. That's the natural resources of my province. Presidential condition. Our beloved president has some mental problems. He's getting better, but the opposition are having a field day with it. He just needs some time to get better. Well, that's very much based on Turkey, I think, and Rogan. I mean, not Rogan, Ataturk way back in the day. Anyways, minus 70 action points and higher in happiness. My debt's up to 1596. The R&D cooperation UN resolution passed. I could invest in it for SCORE and HDI. It gets quite expensive. It's not really worth it for such a small country as my own, though. Run my debt up massively. No, thank you. Out of curiosity. Oh, it doesn't tell you how much. It only does 4 ones at a time. I wanted to see what the debt limit was, but nothing else as a deterrent. I should probably add another infantry unit here. In case I get a... Well, since unhappiness is 11% over 10, you can have real issues. When the NGOs is using legal loopholes to offer gambling services without our supervision, without paying taxes. Real movement. Introduce legal changes, adds to interventionism. Target, not current value. You gain some tax income for a time. Be about 3 money per whatever for a while. Does make unemployment worse. Or you can do nothing, I'll just set interventionism lower in absolute terms. Let's do that. Let's lower interventionism allows me to lower taxes to stimulate economic growth. And yes, run up my debt even worse. I'll eventually hit bankruptcy, which will shrink my economy some, but not as much as I gained from. Our agents support the influence political system operation as complete success. Kosovo has no idea what hit them. And it turns them into an air quote democracy, which is really just what capitalist in some sense, since the usual difference between quote, authoritarian and democracy nations this game ends up being interventionism score. Anyways, I'm working on the stock exchange. Get this soon. And a war would give me some major money in AP. Pay down the debt with what I got from the influence operation. And the reward for that. Bomb attack. A few weeks ago, there was a bomb attack in the capital. Investigators managed to identify the perpetrator, but they're currently in hiding. What's more, we've discovered they're working for the freedom movement. We have every reason to believe that this organization is hiding the perp. Should we confront them about it? You can spend action points to confront them about it. I'll lower than happiness target by 6. Or lower than happiness by 6. I upset them with already 0 relations. You do get a fault event that's native, though. Or you can know where you lose a bunch of score, but it lowers personal control. Promise adds unhappy, so they must face justice. There's a TV show last night on a foreign channel that shows as incompetent buffoons quote the reports. Some people are quite angry. We're just letting others laugh at us like that. In North Korea, of all countries. North Korea making fun of Macedonia. I mean, North Korea is in a bad situation because the U.S. has kept it under sanctions and, of course, did a genocide against Korea in the Korean War. The leading English language expert on the Korean War, historian that is, says that it was a genocide. The aerial bombing campaign dropped an enormous volume of ordnance in North Korea and killed something like 3 million people. Well, it was that and the actual ground warfare. But completely leveled the whole freaking country. It was bombing campaign with the intent of killing as many civilians as possible. With massive use of napalm on civilian areas. People think napalm was developed in the Vietnam War. No, actually, napalm was used in World War II with the firebombing of Dresden, of Tokyo, etc. And it was used far more extensively in the Korean War, and then even more extensively still in Vietnam. So yeah, I have no doubt Macedonia's leadership right now is a bunch of incompetent buffoons. You can ignore it, which leaves you 5 score. You can make your own show, which costs quite a lot of money in action points and hurts relations a great deal, or demand apologies. Score is not worth action points, probably, but I say this, but I'm going to run out of action points when I have my first bankruptcy, so I shouldn't worry. Yeah, I'll just demand apologies to avoid the unhappiness. Alright. I'll be swimming in action points, but money is always going to be tight. I can do universal military service. I get 150 money and 100 AP for doing it. No, that's net cost of money. Give me something I'll actually want to do. The game loves to throw that particular event at you. It's probably based on there being assholes in the UK right now who want to bring back universal military service, the draft and such. Everyone is born free. Freedom is the most important human attribute. Have less than 3 personal control. I think that'll happen eventually. Less than 3. Well, next election I'll shift, I think, 2 per election, so that'll get me down to 3. And if I get on any event where I can lower personal control, yeah, I'll get there eventually. At lower levels of economic development, you have a higher personal control target. It's worth noting. Same with interventionism target. This does make it so easier to go authoritarian and annex stuff when you're at medium or low economic development levels. Simple education adds to personal control, so having any government involvement in the education system, I guess, is the idea. Immigration policy lowers the target. But yeah, mainly working with the Freedom Front will lower the personal control target eventually. Malta declared bankruptcy. Rank number 17 is score. You can see how the Giants doing. There's no chance of catching up to them before 2100 or whatever in this game. I don't anticipate winning. I mean, this is kind of for lulls. There's other nations if you actually want to win in this game. All right, got my 3rd infantry unit. I'm a little less vulnerable if I get a revolt. If my military wiped out before I can raise more units and game over. Singapore joined the bloc of Indonesia. Mine joined the bloc of India. One taken. Let's see. It still only requires 1 natural resources to maintain the industry economy. Though I'll need a lot of resources for my military. Tanks require 1 resource each, and planes 2, if I remember. I don't know. They just cost more maintenance than armor. Yeah, transports require 3 each, but yeah. Still, to make tanks and planes, I'll need probably either import natural resources or modernize my mining industry and do mining infrastructure. If I do financial capital, it would add to the number of stock market slots, but I'll probably at least the slots anyways. Use stuff like basic social security. It's quite expensive to maintain. The universal social security does that to population growth, though. Use these prohibitions, prohibiting drugs and alcohol. Something you can do. So control apartment. All this stuff is mostly AP cost. Both to implement and maintain. Propaganda costs money, but allows. But yeah, I don't want to be doing the stuff that's the personal control right now if I'm trying to do that mission. So border policy or open border policy adds 0.02, costs 2 money. Yeah, I probably want to work towards maternity leave. So labor laws set to regulations. Set to regulations actually prevents certain negative events you can get, and it just adds to your score. Has no upkeep. If you want maintain labor laws, then you generally want set to regulations as well. But yeah, maternity leave to increase my population growth rate. Something else. Yep. Not really. Arms industry is incredibly expensive. You can do a research center. A substantial upkeep. Combat Tactics Center. As soon as you have 30 HCI, you can maintain it. Chosen target. And these provide small, permanent, semi-permanent buffs. But yeah, I'm going to want labor laws. prevents some negative events with like child labor. Then set to regulations. And maternity leave, because it'll add to my population growth. And with the UN Security Council, South Korea join the UN Security Council, which in this game, Security Council membership is decided by, it's just the top 12 countries by GDP. Just silly, but whatever. So South Korea has a larger economy than Italy now. Cambodia joined the bloc. Japan. Some loans. I should open my own stock exchange. Cost 500 money, 700 AP. It's me 1,000. So it is really net cost of money. Debt costs go from 9 to 11. So it's 2 money per month, basically. Does add to my score income. Gives you 1 money per month. If I don't add nations to the exchange, such as Greece or Italy isn't a member of any stock exchange. And Turkey. Interestingly. Anyway, Turkey and Egypt. Now it's bringing in. Costs a bunch of AP to add these nations, but I had plenty to burn. 20 money a month. So well more than the how much this add to my debt. I got enough AP to be worth it. Or almost. Covered most of the cost. I think I added 100 each. Spent 300. So yeah, I spent 1,000, got 1,000 back. So I came out neutral on AP and making some money and score. 5 score month and stock exchange. New task: Army Power Infantry 1. Strong army is the backbone of every army. Strong infantry is the backbone of every army. Invest in your men and activate the Advanced Infantry Training Project. Costs 2 AP a month. As I've said, I have plenty of AP to swim around in. Go add to infantry. From costs, I may want to recruit some infantry a little before, although it takes 8 months for that to cost more than, so maybe not. Yeah, I can run that. Make me better protected against rebellion and give me some money. Costs over 1,500 money though to get there. I only get 500 back. I can hold on to that task for a while. Do it after my first bankruptcy, maybe. Should do things that cost AP here and there. want to go more attack someone, so I guess try and gain cores. You can only actually gain on provinces neighbor you, on Bulgaria, Sofia. So democracy can only annex stuff you have cores on, so Varna would have to liberate in order to annex Sofia, actually, if I wasn't authoritarian. That's my score if I succeed. Huh. That pushed me into bankruptcy. Resets my AP, money, and debt to 0. You lose 5% of GDP. Minus 7 relations to the world, and a quarter of your score. And you lose your stock exchange. Huh. How much debt did I have? Well, not that much, probably. Paraguay during the buffer zone. I guess it was much closer than I thought to bankruptcy. I knew it was coming. Oh, I'll get some AP back with this. When I go to war, an infantry training center thing. Nationalists are planning marches through the country that will be targeted, amongst others, against minorities in the freedom movement. If we'll allow them, confrontation will be inevitable. Ban it, adds to your warmonger rating, hurts GP growth, or let them march. Freedom movement actually enjoys it, because I guess they have to do counter protests. Or something, I don't know. You would score. You gain personal control by allowing it. Feel like they reverse descriptions. If anything, banning the march should be the thing that increases personal control and adds to unhappiness, and allowing it should be the thing that gives you warmonger because nationalist marches. I'll ban it. I don't care that much about the warmonger, and population is long-term determination of long-term. The thing determines my GDP growth. So, but I want to get the everyone is born free thing. I guess there can be an argument about tolerance of intolerance. Exchange in Russia was closed to actions of unknown spies. I was left the block of China. Nationalist movements in Hungary. Hungary is looking to assert control of the heavily Hungarian-populated areas of Transylvania. They claim the region as a new core province with interesting times, indeed. Yeah, so a lot of stuff just recapitulates the lead up to World War II in this game, like Hungary wanting Transylvania as they did before World War II. One of the things that led them to allying with the Nazis and join the Axis, fighting alongside them. That and virulent anti-communism and wanting to invade the Soviet Union. Of course, there is no Soviet Union in this lead up to World War III. Pressure from HQ. Their national headquarters of one of the NGOs pressuring us to offer more support to their local branches. For 70 action points, I only have 39, so actually it cost me that. And 2 intervention, I can improve relations. I'll do that. Will help. Reason being, this improves relations, and I'm trying to get it up so the personal control target will go down. It's a long-term thing. Resup into stock exchange. It might invite me to it, in which case I get some passive money, not as much as I have my own. Alright, implement labor laws. Can't do sector regulations yet because of lack of action points, though. Diplomatic missions for warmonger decrease. Sure. I think I currently have. Yep, warmonger from banning that march. Could be useful. Limited. get some score, and your warmonger rating will decay faster. Which be useful for doing more spy actions without getting to high levels. Warmonger. Which can hurt diplomatic relations and cause nations to eventually attack you. Spain is looking to expand to Gibraltar. Vital port and formerly Spanish is a great place to start. I mean, it's looking to expand. Gibraltar, vital port and formerly Spanish is a great place to start. We're living in interesting times indeed. Also, Portugal, which is not Gibraltar. Kosovo with the block of Turkey. They have 5 infantry and armor and an aircraft. My 3 infantry. Not quite ready to attack me yet. Bankrupted myself. Doing this core thing wasn't that expensive. But I have a very low debt limit with such a small economy. GP is size 60. Debt limit is increased to 120% for my current interventionism level. It does allow you to carry more debt. The people of Bangladesh have decided to permanently join the Indian Union. Now, Bangladesh is officially a new state of the Republic of India. Right. Not sure that would ever happen. Turkmenistan join the bloc of India. I'm taken. I don't think this even makes it an accepted. Oh, no. Bengali is the culture. Yeah, and now it's an accepted culture. So yeah, they don't have any problems. They don't have to force cultural assimilation. Yeah, there's a ridiculous number of different cultures. Doesn't hurt them. But if someone, say, invades them and liberates countries, they'll each only have, as their accepted culture, the culture of that province that's liberated. Which can make it harder for the little successor states to reunify. So it is relevant to the gameplay. Attack on a gas pipeline. One of our gas pipelines was severely damaged during a recent rebel attack. It will take a while before we can fix it. Decreases my natural resources by 2 for a time until it recovers. I only need 3 right now, so that's fine. This means I can have more than 3 tanks or planes. If I have to wait for that to recover before I would want to raise military units, a lot of them. Southeast Asia Treaty. Main country Vietnam, also Burma, Cambodia, and Laos. The countries of continental Southeast Asia have decided to halt their mutual animosities and sign a mutual cooperation agreement. Instead, it is believed that this move was caused by the impending threat of China. Right, because this game loves to push Chinese imperialism nonsense. I swear this game is a piece of CIA propaganda, and it would explain the shitty lack of interest in producing good product by the devs, because they just want that CIA money, don't actually care about the players like it, if that were the case. But it's probably not. Just right-wing beliefs of the game devs. Crew explorers got lost in the mountains 3 days ago. Our search and rescue teams don't find them. You can search, spend a bunch of money and action points in this. You can get a score if it succeeds, but I'm going to cancel search immediately because I have meager means in Macedonia right now. Let's join the bloc of Japan. Demilitarization of totalitarian countries. Our agents support gain core in neighboring province operation was a complete success. Bulgaria has no idea what hit them. Well, they know I have a core in them now. So I'm going to say no. They know what hit them. They now like me less, but this can be used to eventually attack them. Need relations under 25 and a core to attack this democracy. So, still annoyed at me for my recent bankruptcy. Hurt relations by 30 and then attack, but I don't have the military power quite yet. For it. Where's my warmonger rating? Completely decayed. Turkish choice. Turkey is at a crossroads. It seems that like half the country would like to continue its pro-Western policy. But this has caused the more nationalistic parts of the country to recall the Muslim sentiment of the old Ottoman Empire. They're calling for Turkey to be rebuilt as the Islamic leader. One way or another, Turkey and the Turkish people will soon have to make a very serious choice on the side. Plays Turkey, you get an event you can choose. I think if you choose the Islamic thing, it used to remain same culture and everything. It just affects your relations temporarily with Europe versus it chooses Islamic path to get a bunch of cores, including in the Balkans here, Bulgaria, Macedonia, etc. Peace between the Bloc of India and China expired. Employment is down to 7% and shrinking. Result of decreasing unemployment, as well as full-scale migration, super parents lottery. Quite rapid population growth. I'm up to 350 population now. Alright, personal control increased. Oh, because of the core another on neighbor. Militarism also increased, but interventionism decreased. Debating off the block of Turkey, war between Serbia and Kosovo. If Kosovo doesn't get annexed, this could leave Kosovo weak. A situation where I might be able to invade. R&D cooperation, top score UK and Russia tied for number one, so they both get the benefits. 100 score 30 human development. Germany came in number 2, got 10. There's no prize for third place or below in that. Project implement fossil fuel energy. And then you can do fossil fuel energy focus. So put me under a bit of pressure with my natural resources. Leaving 4 for my economy, which eventually I'll need 2, and then if I get another event that decreases natural resources, I have no surplus. I have to import resources to make tanks, probably. Marketing campaign. One of the NGOs here is looking to expand their influence. They want to conduct a nationwide marketing campaign and would like to share the cost. They said both sides will benefit from this agreement. Spend many AP to do it. Ignore them, which hurts GP growth, or you can just say we're not interested. Doesn't say, but if I remember correctly, doing it improves relations with the NGO. Yes, it does. It's a hint. Reduces the personal control target. 1 to 6. Embezzlement. We proof the NGO operating here is guilty of embezzling large sums of money. Should we react? You can condemn it, increases unemployment, removes all the relations, buff or do nothing. You lose a little money and score unhappiness. Instead, it will limit tax income and reduce personal control target and unhappiness. Better to ignore it. I don't care much about score right now. European close-up. Some of the countries in Europe are in advanced talks about a major working agreement on peace and stability. Germany and France, the first to officially sign it. Okay. Looks like this war is going in favor of Serbia, unsurprisingly. With the demand of Kosovo. Kazakhstan left the block for Russia. UK has signed the agreement. One taken. I'm not joining the block of Turkey. Third World Foundation. Need a bunch of score in relations to the whole world for participating. Poland signed the agreement. The UN thing. Should know, I know that Alexander the Great was not, as I explained, from Macedonia, is actually from Macedonia, Greece. Just kind of memey. Talking about that. It's an Alexander the Great run, but yeah. Macedonia is a nation that eventually joins when Eastern Yugoslavia reforms in this game. So hopefully that'll allow me to just get Serbia, Montenegro, and Kosovo peacefully. I think Bosnia and Herzegovina too. Well, that's not till like 2050 that happens. Russia's at war with Georgia. Taken. One of the NGOs is opposing our tariffs that hurt their business. They would like us to lessen the toll. Or makes them happy, increases in happiness, but improves relations, free movement. Adding further tax income, reducing unhappiness target. For sure. Covered from the bankruptcy already. Turkey remains pro-Western. It's clear now Turkey cut their ties the old ways and is staying on a Western course. Well, that makes things a little easier for me. Doesn't change their culture. But anyways. Tomboy joined the bloc of Japan. New and taken. Offices for minorities. The Free Movement has sent us an official protest note about the lack of minorities in major governmental positions. There are many changes in the system, and the creation of new positions for minorities is necessary. To be minorities like Bulgarians living in Macedonia, most likely. Anyways, the right improves relations. The Free Movement costs AP for a while. Lowers in happiness. I'll do it. Trying to draw close to them. And Serbia annex Kosovo. I give them problems with. Kosovo has actually Albanian culture, looks like. But Albania could have annexed them without cultural mismatch. Someday, we'll go and liberate Kosovo, would have friendly relations with Albania, but whatever. Serbia will be part of the Eastern Yugoslavia thing. It's not a huge problem. There is the option to attack UN intervention, but they have a much larger army. 10 left to block in the United States. And 13 more migrating. And taken. See, so went back to local stock exchange with the bankrupt zero error. It's worth noting. Didn't lose point systems or academic education. Or looks like I'm still running all the same projects, huh? Thought I canceled some. Maybe it's just stock exchange stuff. Anyways, again, well, economy is doing badly right now. It's about to start turning around. Alright, diplomatic missions complete. And get reduced AP for block mains with that. I could work my way up internal political advancement with some more AP. Oh, we can just set the regulations. I won't be able to do maternity leave for a while. Yeah, let's do set the regulations. The lump sums of AP like this get bigger the larger I think is your economy. So if I delay it and do it later, I'll get more. One taken, Ethiopia joining the bloc of India. Turkish nationalists in the government have declared that Turkey will soon restore the glory of the Ottoman Empire and will gain former lands in the Near East. Okay. They actually got a bunch of cores in the Middle East here, but none of the Balkan ones without doing the pivot to the past thing. So they're going to invade Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Israel. Apparently leave Palestine alone. Oh, that's because it was in a block with them. The nation's already in block. No, they have gained cores on Lebanon. Well, whatever. Sri Lanka left the block of India. The UK, number 1 in World Foundation, US and Canada and Germany all tied for number 2. Sort of noting, Israel and Palestine both have cores in each other, so they tend to go to war constantly. Similar to North and South Korea, actually. Yeah, either one can end up being the aggressor. Turkey takes all its countries, and Israel is no longer becomes a Turkish province, as it historically was before the British Empire took control of the area and then did the Balfour Declaration. By the way, Balfour, the minister that's named after, was a horrible anti-Semite who wanted to send all the Jews to Israel, Palestine, just because he wanted them out of England and Europe. And then, a bunch of people went there. They Zionist settlers got very violent. Eventually, the UK changed its mind about creating a Jewish state, and this led to a violent revolt. Jewish settlers taking up arms and turning on their Palestinian neighbors, and the UK, rather than put down their revolt, just said, nah. Basically pulled out almost immediately. One of the NGOs here is growing rapidly and becoming more influential. We should react in some way to their popularity, right on their cattails. Gotta spend money. Adds to interventionism, but I believe it makes them happier. Yep, it does. I think it should say coattails. I think I was writing cattails, annoyingly. Whatever. Also, paying way more in project and event maintenance than these numbers add up to, yet again. Slovenia joined the bloc United States. I'm digging. It's like in debuff for Macedonia, or just the game not doing its math right. Unemployment is down to 3%. Arctic dispute. Russia's public claim to the North Pole along with all its resources. The United States may respond by doing the exact same thing. A major conflict is brewing. Yeah, the ever-decreasing unemployment rate is leading to very high population growth, and people have jobs and economic security, and wages tend to be higher when unemployment is lower. It's capitalism. Bosses pay people as low as they can get away with. Yeah, it leads people have jobs that can security, higher wages, then they tend to have kids more. And population growth in turn adds militarism target, which is mostly a good thing in this game. As you have larger military, especially important for small nations. Eventually I'll add +1 more to my unit capacity. It's a multiplier, so the higher my population brings that number, the more militarism multiplies it. It also works in the base 16 though. War between Iraq and ISIS, basically Mashriq. They have wars on each other, and this is probably going to finish off what's left of Iraq. That usually happens in this game. Mine is mining industry. I could do the mine thing. I actually like the action points to say do the tourist infrastructure, which also basically bankrupt me. Yeah, it's 200 for that. Actually, it's not that much cheaper than just doing tourists, which is 500. Save up enough AP, I could just do a tourist thing. I'd go into bankruptcy, but I'd have way more AP income after. And even a little higher score income adds to province score. We've received information about weapons shipment to the Freedom Movement Organization. We must act quickly if we're going to stop it. They bring me the guns, and you get 2 aircraft and 4 armor free. I don't have the natural resources for that, and it hurts relations terribly. Or do nothing. Adds to unhappiness and will reduce unit capacity for a while. So, do nothing. Denmark builds an Arctic base. With Russia and the USA bickered about the Arctic, Denmark surprised the entire world and established a fully operational base in the middle of the contested area. Yeah, I should say this series of events what creates these sea bases like the Gokul Ridge. Denmark gets that first, and then there will be 2 more that'll pop up for Russia and the US soon. Gokul Ridge, which these things are nice because they have very high natural resources, 22, and they're, you know, just another area you can have population, score income, put in tourist infrastructure, mining infrastructure, etc. Have more population, more GDP. War between Russia and Ukraine. I want to take it. On the left is, I think, the aggressor, so it looks like Ukraine attacked Russia. No, should attack Ukraine. Probably because of the poor relations due to Ukraine having wars in Donetsk and Crimea. Yeah. So it's 2030 and Russia and Ukraine are still killing each other. Lovely. One taken. You get some prizes for being in the top 5 of score, but it's a long time before I'll be anywhere near that. Our dispute continues. Both equally as shocked as angry, Russia and the U.S. moved their fleets near the Danish Arctic base. Other Scandinavian countries, as well as Canada, have responded negatively to that move and are showing solidarity with Denmark. Interesting. Popper NGO leader retires. The longtime leader of one of the NGOs here decided to hang up her boots and ride into the sunset. She was always well liked, so perhaps some congratulations are in order. Safest thing is usually to send congratulations, although you can do nothing which hurt relations or cares of the past, and congratulations to new leader. Which can sometimes get you rewards, but often is harmful. Year of Revolution. Minorities and oppressed countries everywhere are reaching their breaking point. More and more protests go on around the world. It seems the global revolution is just around the corner. Seems, but never happened this game. Sounds bad. Pretty sure it's all the... I don't know. This isn't even in any kind of freaking alphabetical order. So I don't know where... Trying to see if Macedonia is on the list. Yep, it's affecting my unhappiness target. Year of Revolution. Following recent fractious events, some of the more aggressive members of the freedom movement have decided to leave the organization in support of global rioters. However, as the leadership of the freedom movement, we would like to declare a distance from these people. We believe in peaceful solutions, and global revolutions will only bring pain to the ones we're trying to protect. We will not support them. I hope the government will be able to keep the situation under control. Good. Get extra action points for a while. This is because I had high relations with the freedom movement all this time. Payoff for that. Space colonization. Much better understanding of our universe than ever before is slowly but surely becoming possible. First step, space stations. There are places out in space known as Lagrange points. Lagrangian points where a small object can maintain a stable position relative to the two largest objects on either side. To put it simply, a stable, functioning space base can be built there. This would certainly help with any future colonization efforts. Let the race begin. Invest massive amounts of money to possibly get a Lagrange point base, but yeah, it's not worth it for a tiny nation like Macedon. Better off maybe eventually attacking one of the giants who gets it and taking province from him. Also, you can see all the planets out there, which eventually be colonized. Jupiter, there's supposed to be an event for that, but it never triggers, I found, even when you control the moons. It's supposed to be if you control the moons, you can actually like do aerostats in upper atmosphere or something. Aerostats are a real thing, but right, maternity leave. Yes, please. Population growth. So that's in many ways determining the rate of my economic growth. Below 0.15, you fall into low economic development, so probably my high population growth just sit at the border between them and basically grow my economy at the rate of my population growth, which is 0.47, and it'll grow up to like 0.5. So that's faster economic growth that way by sitting right between low and medium, hovering between whenever I fall to low, my economy grows until I'm medium again. Whenever I'm medium, it shrinks till I'm low, or at least shrinks relative to GDP. I mean, the population actually probably keeps growing either way. enough investment in economic growth will also keep unemployment from growing too quickly. I'm going to get rid of the fight unemployment project sooner or later, which is going to get more and more expensive. Let's take the parents' grand lottery also. Loan taken. Eventually, I'm going to need to do resource imports if I stick with the industrial economy. Service requires more investment in human development. If I was Iran, I could just maintain human development without many projects, but it's going to cost quite a bit of money to do. Need import infrastructure and small imports, at least. Maybe even big or huge by size. That's 4 money and 1 AP a month. Just to keep stable growth. This game is brutal. Small, poor countries. One taken, as is real world. Hail, forward seeker of truth. I am Pidoween, and I come to you with once in a lifetime opportunity to achieve perfection. I represent the Church of Reconology. We can help you and millions of others in your quests for spiritual awareness and unity with the universe. You will find the truth. You can do it. It's all in your hands. All you have to do is believe. Pay us a small fee, of course. Yeah, so they're basically like a scammer church. They want intervention so low that the minimal allowed taxes are 7% or less. They can reduce block maintenance, but they also cut tax income and personal control target. It's worth knowing. They do give you a flat amount of AP, so it can help small nations. Can be worth it, I suppose. To consider whether a norm or not later. It's quite expensive on a norm. Minority schools. The freedom movement is angry at us for problems with their system of allowing anyone who wishes to open a school for minorities. They like to see changes introduced in co-funding of such schools by the government. They're right. It costs some money in AP, but improves relations with them further. And to tax income, reducing personal control target, and reducing inhabitants in the long run. Interest rates. Monetary policy specialists have proposed increasing interest rates as a way of balancing the economy with the current inflation. You do it, it raises tax income, but also raises interventionism, hurting your GDP growth in the long run, so there's no need for that. Often, raising interest rates is really about increasing unemployment to weaken the labor market to maintain billionaire profits, but weakening the labor market cools off the economy, so it's portrayed as a good thing. Venezuela and Argentina, two sides of the greatest South American potentate, announced the signing of a mutual cooperation agreement between them. One can only wonder against whom this alliance may be directed. Fossil fuel energy focus complete. Cool. Well, economy is doing terribly. Cool. Alright, well, this is as good a time as any. Save and quit, and I will see you folks later. Take care of each other and yourselves, and may you always find a guiding star to lead you home. Till next time, it's Northstar. Adieu, and best luck.